Spring is finally here. So not only is it finally starting to warm up in Southern California, but on top of that, the housing market is also heating up as well. So over the last couple weekends, we've seen a lot more people through open houses. Here's a quick example I took from last weekend. And on top of that, multiple offers are starting to become more commonplace again. So does this mean that we've hit the bottom of the housing market and prices are going to start rising again? That's exactly what we're going to talk about on today's episode. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. If this is your first time tuning in, hi, I'm Josh Alexander, your local Orange County real estate agent, as well as host of Orange County Housing Market News, your one-stop shop for all things Orange County real estate. So if you're thinking of buying or selling a home in the next couple months, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I put out weekly videos with different tricks and tips to help you succeed in today's market. So like I said, on today's episode, we're going to be going over what all this recent data means as I go over what to expect in the Orange County housing market as we head into April 2023. So let's go ahead and get into it. So March was another wild month in the housing market in Orange County. So primarily due to all the banking failures that we had, it created a lot of uncertainty in the market, and that also created uncertainty in the housing market where interest rates were going up and down all over the place, and it was hard to really figure out exactly what was happening. However, we're starting to see things stabilize a little bit. So let's first look at what happened over the last couple weeks in the housing market, and that will give us a good idea of what to expect over the next month as we head through April in the Orange County housing market. So over the month of March, we're definitely starting to see the data shift a lot more, and it's indicating that the housing market is shifting into a different direction. So let's go ahead and look at some of that first. So the first one I'll look at is going to be price decreases. So how many people put their home on the market and then had to decrease their price in order to try to sell it. That really peaked in the month of December, but that's been heading down every single month since. And right now it's hovering right around 22% of homes have had to do price reductions. And that matches what we saw all the way back into last summer. So price decreases are becoming less and less commonplace. Now on the opposite side, price increases. So again, how many sellers are increasing their price after they already placed it on the market? Since January, it's been pretty stable around 2%. However, over the last couple weeks, again, we're starting to see that go up a little bit, which means more homeowners are increasing their price, less homeowners are decreasing their price when they place their homes on the market through the month of March. Now, on top of that, the average days on market, so basically when the seller puts their house up for sale to when it goes into escrow, has also been decreasing as well, and decreasing rapidly. So in the month of February, the average days on market in Orange County was hovering right around 70 days or a little over 2 months. However, as we approach the end of March, that number has literally been cut in half to 35. So it's only taking an average of just a little over a month for a standard seller to get their house into escrow right now. Now on the supply side of things in Orange County, inventory typically bottoms out in February and then starts increasing as we head into spring. However, this year it's been completely different. So inventory in Orange County has been continuing to go down since the beginning of the year and is still going down as we speak today. However, every week the amount it's going down is becoming less and less, and it seems like we're starting to see that stabilization happen where there's a good chance that either we already saw the bottom or that bottom will hit pretty soon and inventory will start going back up again as we progress through spring. Now on the demand side of things, I like to look at future demand because that's going to tell us where the market is heading. And through the month of March, every single week so far, the amount of purchase applications, so the amount of buyers talking to a lender, getting that pre-approval ready to go, has been going up every single week, which tells me that over the next 30 to 90 days, you're going to see demand continue to go up. So what does this all mean for buyers and sellers? So supply has been going down since the beginning of the year, and demand is starting to go back up right now. So when supply goes down, demand goes up, you start seeing the housing market heat up as well. And that's further reinforced with all the data that we just went over. So more sellers are doing price increases, less sellers are doing price decreases, the average time it takes to sell a home is going down. That's all indication that the housing market is starting to heat up, and we're starting to see the switch happen as we head into the month of April. So what does this all mean for home prices? Well, if you're listening to this on podcast, you'll probably have to check out the YouTube video, but if you look at this right here, this shows all of the sales that happened in Orange County over the last week. Anything with a red arrow going down means that home sold for less than asking price. Anything with a green arrow going up means the home sold for above above asking price. Now, over the last 3 months, we saw a lot of red and really not much green at all. However, over the last couple weeks, we're starting to see more and more green, which means more and more homes are selling for above asking price. And again, that doesn't surprise me because having boots on the ground, seeing how many people are going through the open houses, as well as seeing how many houses are getting multiple offers on them, I can understand why we're starting to see home values go up again. Now, you can see that there is still more red than there is green, but every single week we're seeing prices fall a little bit less and a little bit less, and the trends are showing that we're starting to really hit a bottom, it looks like. And as long as the current trends continue, there's a good chance that through the month of April, we're going to see the housing market stabilize again, where prices are really not going up or really not going down in general. There will be pockets of areas where you have home prices still falling, and there'll be pockets of areas where home prices are going up, but it all just depends on the supply and demand of each individual neighborhood and city. And there's an outside chance that by the end of April, if these trends continue, we could start seeing home values rise in certain parts of Orange County as well. Now, how likely is this to happen? It's really all going to come down to one thing, and it's the same thing that's been disproportionately impacting the housing market over the last 3 years, and that is interest rates. If interest rates stay where they are right now at around 6.5%, there's a good chance that we're going to see the market stabilize as we head into April. However, if interest rates shoot back up again, typically over 7% is where we're seeing the housing market slow down, then you can expect home prices to continue to fall. And on the opposite side of things, if we start seeing interest rates get down into the low sixes, that's when I would say there is a chance that we would start seeing home values in certain parts of Orange County start to go back up again by the end of April. Now, this might sound crazy to the average buyer when interest rates are so high and home prices, even though they've come down, are still very high in Orange County. But the problem we're having right now is inventory. Even though demand is still very low, inventory is still lower. And until that inventory starts going up, which we just don't have any data showing that's going to happen anytime soon, you're going to continue to see demand go up a little bit faster than supply. And the second problem with inventory is really the only time we do see inventory go up is when interest rates start to fall again, because a lot of sellers feel trapped in their house right now. They have 2% interest rates, and they don't want to go buy another property when it's 6.5% and they're paying double for the same priced home. They're just sitting still, staying in place, and unless they have to move, they're not going anywhere. So the catch-22 we have right now is that until interest rates drop, you're just not going to see supply go up in any meaningful way. However, if interest rates drop, demand also rises very quickly, which means even if supply goes up, demand will also shoot up as well, which again is going to lead to a stabilized housing market. So really the only way that the housing market is not going to stabilize is if we see interest rates head to that 7% or above rate and they stay there for a prolonged period of time. And even if they stay at that 7% rate, that just means that less people are going to sell their home, and so you're really just not going to have any significant shift in the housing market no matter what rates do. So those people that are expecting some type of giant housing crash, you're just going to be very sorely disappointed and waiting and waiting and waiting, because the current dynamics between supply and demand right now is just showing there's no way that it's going to get so significantly out of balance that you're going to see prices swing one way or another. Okay, so if you're thinking of buying and selling a home over the next month or two, what does this actually all mean for you? So let's start with the buying side of things. So if you're trying to buy a house, just know that the current data is showing that right now, the longer you wait, the more demand is hitting the market and the more buyers you're competing with, especially for those nicer homes that are more desirable, fully upgraded, move-in ready in the nicer neighborhoods under $2 million. That tends to be where most of the demand is in Orange County right now. So if you're looking for that type of home, just understand that over the next couple weeks, expect more competition. So is it a good time for you to buy a home right now? Well, I say this often, but I'm going to say it again. Most home buyers are buying homes for the long term. They want to live there 5+ years. They're not market speculators. They're not trying to buy a home, flip it, and then sell it right away. They're trying to hold onto that property, have their family live there. And in that case, the most important thing that you always have to consider are the monthly payments. Can you afford the monthly payments in the neighborhood you want to be in with the type of home and type of amenities that you want? If the answer to that question is yes, then it's always going to be a good time for you to consider purchasing a house. And the main reason for this is over the long term, housing prices have always gone up. So if you're planning on living there for a while, if the housing market drops another 2 or 3%, it's not going to impact you, because over 5 or 10 years, you're still going to come out on top, and it's not going to impact your daily daily life because your mortgage payment is going to stay the same throughout that 30-year period. So buy what you can afford today. If you can't afford the current prices, then you shouldn't be buying a home. But if you talk to a lender, which is completely free, they run your information, they give you what you can afford, and you can find homes that fall into your budget, then I would highly recommend that you continue looking for a home and try to find a home that you can secure for the long term. And then if interest rates drop in the future, you can always refinance and end up paying even less for that mortgage, but you can never do the opposite, because if interest rates drop, you're going to have more demand in the marketplace, you're going to have more buyer competition, and you're going to have to overpay for your home again. And so right now, you can still pay market value or under market value for your house, lock in that payment, and then hopefully be able to refinance in the future. Now, on the selling side of things, if you're a typical seller who's selling a home and upgrading to another home, then the biggest thing that you're looking at is what type of home can you afford, and does it make sense for you to move right now? Which again goes back to the buying side advice, except there's just one more step that you need to go through, which is first you need to contact a real estate agent, have them do a market analysis to give you an idea of what your home's worth and how much you would net from it, and then you can take that number, talk to a lender, figure out how much home you can afford, how much the payments will be, and see if you can find homes that match your criteria in the range that you want to be able to afford. If the answer is yes, you can find homes, then yes, it is a good time for you to sell. And if you look at the numbers and you can't afford a home right now, then at least you know that right now is probably not the best time to sell your home, because you're not going to be able to find some place to move into. And so you don't want to be in that situation where your home's on the market, you have a buyer, but you can't find a home of your own that's going to make sense for you to live in. So before you even think about putting your house on the market, if you're planning on buying a new home, get that price of what your current home's worth, talk to a lender, figure out your payments, and then make sure it makes financial sense for you before you start moving forward. Now, one final thought for sellers. If you do own a home with one of those extremely low interest rates, it might be worth for you to look into how much you could rent your home for. Right now, more and more homeowners are turning their current primary residence into rental properties because the interest rates were so low that you can actually make money by having a renter get into your house. They're paying that mortgage plus some on top of it, and you're able to go out and find a new property of your own. So if you haven't considered that possibility as well, you have some money set aside for another down payment on a home, it's something you might want to explore with your lender as well as real estate agent to see if that would be a good financial option for you to be able to further build your wealth through real estate in the future. Are you finding this content useful? Again, if you are, make sure you don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and save button, because I come out with new episodes every single week. And if you have any family or friends that might find this information useful, please consider sharing with them as well. I would really appreciate it. If you still have questions on what's going on in the housing market, or you have specific questions about a neighborhood or your own personal situation, feel free to set up a 30-minute discovery call with me anytime. So depending on where you're watching this, you can find it in the comment or description section below, or if you're watching this on Instagram, you can find the link in my bio. Set up that 30-minute session for a convenient time for you, and I'd love to answer any additional questions you might have. So until next week, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye, everyone.